Hello friends, it is Slash687 here, back at it again with another PC related video. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 graphics cards for your money. The link to each and every one of these deals is going to be in the description in case you want to go and pick one of these graphics cards up. So it's the same thing as usual. I'm going to be starting with the lower price tier cards and just move up from there. So the very first card we have today is the GTX 750 Ti. It's made by Asus and it's a 4% off deal on Newegg right here. What I like about this card is it's so versatile. You can put this card into any old PC pretty much as long as you have a PCIe lane, and since some of the models don't require any additional power from a power supply, you can just put it right into an old PC and be off and running if you have a decent CPU. So it's kind of interesting in that aspect. You can revive old PCs with a card like this. But overall, the performance is actually not bad. You're going to be playing the newest titles at medium-low settings at around 30 to 45 FPS, which isn't really that bad if you think about it. And if you're only going to play like Counter-Strike or League of Legends or like retro games, you're going to be really good with this card. But still, even in AAA games, it's decent, and for the money, at $130, you can't go wrong. Stepping up a little bit in price, we have the Sapphire Nitro Radeon R9 380. This is a DirectX 12 card. It is made by Sapphire, which is a pretty good manufacturer when it comes to AMD cards. It's 4 gigabytes of VRAM, which is pretty good. It's has one of these new beefy coolers that Sapphire is putting onto these R9 300 series cards, so it's gonna stay nice and cool, even though the architecture of these 300 series cards is based on generates a good amount of heat. But the cooler they have on this thing is so beefy that it doesn't even matter. This thing's a tank. It's a little bit heavy, but it should work very well in 1080p gaming, get you about 40, 50 FPS in modern titles. It's very comparable to a GTX 960, maybe a little bit better in some benchmarks, but overall for only $194, it's a little bit cheaper than a 960, and you're going to get comparable performance. So I'd say pick this card up and you're going to have a pretty good deal. It also comes with a free Sapphire mousepad, so if you're into that, go ahead and pick this thing up. $195, not bad at all. The next card, we're going to be stepping up in price just a tiny little bit, but the deal you're going to get is spectacular. This is a PowerColor Radeon R9 380X. And right now, AMD is really dominating when it comes to these lower end, like $100 to $200 graphics cards. This 380X, made by PowerColor, which, you know, not a very well-known brand, but from what I've heard, they do make decent GPUs. Not, you know, near the quality of Sapphire or anything like that, but PowerColor, not as bad as some people think. So $200, you're getting a 380X. Most 380Xs are anywhere from like $230 to $250, so this alone is a steal when you compare it to the other 380Xs out there. A 380X is a very powerful card for 1080p gaming. You should be maxing out a lot of titles at 60 FPS or maybe a little bit lower, but for the money, at only $200 for 1080p gaming, this is your card right here. This is what you want to pick up if you want to be able to max out titles at 1080p on a budget. This card is just amazing for the money, and if it wasn't for the other 2 cards I have, this would be number 1. Now for the final 2 cards, you probably saw this coming a mile away, but what I have right here is a GeForce GTX 970 made by EVGA. Now this is not the super clocked version or the super duper clocked version, whatever the heck they want to call it. Save yourself the $20 and overclock it yourself, guys. This graphics card is very good. EVGA is very reputable when it comes to these graphics cards. The cooler is great. Everything I've heard about the customer service from EVGA is great, and a 970 will max out everything in 1080p, and you can even step up to 1440p if you're willing to lower the settings a little bit if you want to get 60 FPS. This card, for the money, despite the whole 3.5 gigabytes of VRAM thing that was going on like a year ago, this card's still great. And it still handles 1080p games extremely well and still handles 1440p games to an extent. So for only $310, pick this card up and you will destroy any game at 1080p, and it should serve you very well. The final card is the PowerColor Radeon R9 390. Now, it's very close between the GTX 970 and the R9 390, but I just have to give the edge to the R9 380 simply because it has 8 gigs of VRAM and a 512-bit bus, and personally because I actually own a 390, so it makes me a little bit biased towards it. But I own a XFX R9 390 and I love it. I haven't had a single problem with it. Stays very cool, and from what I've read about this PowerColor model, it has this 3-fan design and it cools just as well as my XFX, if not better. So for only $299, this is a steal. And like I said with the last PowerColor card, PowerColor, even though it's not a very well-known brand and is typically not received well by too many people in like forums or wherever you're going to research these cards, it is in fact actually a decent brand. They've been getting better as the years go on, and for only $299.99, this card, it will destroy anything in 1080p gaming max settings, and it will even play 1440p fairly well. So this is the best deal in my eyes right now. Tell me what you guys think. Be sure to leave in the comments what you think is better. Do you like the 970 better, or do you like the R9 390 better? And be sure to leave some reasonings. Don't just be like, oh, NVIDIA is the best because NVIDIA, or go home and kill yourself. Let's see some actual arguments with some actual facts, and I think it should be interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like rating, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.